Hi everyone. Today is Saturday, July 9th, 2022. I'm Crystal Dawn Hill, and I want to tell you about something really weird that happened to me. I was starting to do a video and it didn't turn out the way I wanted, so I started to delete it. And when I went to delete it, my phone froze. It didn't do anything. And I kept doing things to try to, fix it, and I would wait, thinking maybe it just needed to catch up. And finally it wouldn't do anything, so I was just going to power my phone off and restart it. And when I did, my whole phone reset. Now, I could say that this is spiritual, or I can apply the logical explanation, which is that my phone service provider upgraded our service to 5G. And I know this because of notifications that I got about different features and everything. But what's really weird is when I was doing the video the first time, I felt all of this strange energy building up. Like, it felt really weird and uncomfortable, and I was stammering and looking for my words, and I just decided to just give up and start the whole thing over. And when I did, my whole phone got reset. Now, when I tell you the reason that I wanted to do the video in the first place, you're going to see how that story ties in with the fact that my phone upgraded, and I pretty much feel like I got a reset in other areas of my life too. So what this video was originally going to be about today was how the energy from one person in a soul group can impact the energy of the other people. And the way I wanted to talk about this is to do illustrations and kind of show you different pictures as I went along the story. But when I was trying to draw the illustrations, that didn't turn out well. And I'm like, I'm just going to talk about it like I normally do instead of trying to use illustrations. So basically what I want to share is that somebody that I've known through the spiritual community for several years, I've found out that my divine masculine has actually been projecting his energy through her in order to interact with me, because he and I are not interacting outwardly. And the reason I feel like this is very important to share is not because I feel like many people will resonate with it now, but I think because all of my life I've been kind of a way shower in all different aspects of my life. I seem to get insights about things and experience things a little bit ahead of people in my circle. So I feel like I need to get this information out there so that when it does touch the collective on a conscious level, there's going to be information about it that they'll be able to tap into and find that they're not the only one experiencing this. So I started noticing this around the time I had my eye surgery and some of my vision was restored. It was the day after my surgery. I was taking a walk and I met someone whose energy was very powerful and impactful to mine. And we became acquainted, and I found out he is in my soul family, and I kind of noticed that when my divine masculine and I were interacting, this person wasn't very vocal toward me. But then if my divine masculine would close me off, then this person would step back in. And this didn't really happen on a very powerful way, but it was significant enough to where I paid attention to it. And he's really the only person I've ever noticed this on any significant degree. But I did notice it was happening with other people because my connection with him is what brought my attention to it. So I started paying more attention and noticed that that was happening with other people as well. Well, recently, a friend of mine that I've known for quite some time, she interacted with me in a way that she felt she was channeling my divine masculine. And that brought my attention to it even more. And when she and I noticed it and started paying attention to it, we were able to balance our energies and our dynamic so that we were interacting with each other more organically rather than bringing in energy from my divine masculine. And that made us balance out and be able to have a much more pleasant dynamic with each other. But what happened with me today was also with someone that I've known for quite a few years in the community. But she has behaved more like a divine masculine energy. Now, I don't mean the person, because her divine partner is a male, and so their connection is male-female. But I've just observed that her behavior and her energy is more on the masculine side. And so she's behaved much more like I would expect from a divine masculine. So today, she had made a comment on a post, and we began to interact about her comment, and I literally felt the energy of my divine masculine coming through her. And I wanted to bring this to her attention because I thought, well, it'll be like my other friend. If it's brought to the table and brought to the surface and we're both aware of it, then we can balance that out, and she can block herself from channeling his energy, and she and I will begin to interact on more of an organic way and kind of harmonize with each other. Well, that isn't what happened with her. It escalated. And when I was trying to bring it to her attention that she was channeling the energy of my divine masculine, and I made a few remarks regarding that, she blocked me. And I'm like, wow, that came as such a surprise to me because, well, in a way it did, because we've never had any issues with each other that I'm aware of. We've always been able to talk and interact in a very harmonious way. But the reason that she commented on the post was because she was triggered, and instead of being open to what was going on, she shut it completely down, even to the point where she was calling the twin flame dynamic delusional. And that is clearly just a sign of running, because she's very well aware of the twin flame dynamic. She's been on the journey for several years. So I'm like, I'm speaking from my experience here, that her energy was behaving exactly like my divine masculine, and she had stepped into that role of interacting with me and that dynamic to assist me in working through that and clearing that, to bring him and me one step closer to being able to cope with the energy between us without it needing to be filtered by another person stepping in and acting as a filter for that. And I'm looking at this situation in so many different ways. I'm looking at it from the perspective of my friendship with her and feeling very disillusioned that she would just block me over a simple interaction. And it doesn't surprise me, given the fact that she is channeling him, because that's how he is. That's how he behaves. And another thing that I noticed too was, before I knew that she had blocked me, when I was waiting for her to respond to my last comment, I was like hashing all of this out with my divine masculine in the astral plane, because it was really him that I was dealing with, not her. And on a friendship level with her, I hope that she will reach back out and realize that it was about the energy. It wasn't about hers and my friendship. But then again, if that was her whole purpose in being in my life, then maybe she won't reach back out. But our friendship is the first and foremost thing that I was looking at. But then I'm looking at it in so many different ways. Like, from her perspective, for example, the triggers that I may have caused for her, things that she might be going through that I'm not aware of, because we haven't really spoken very much recently. There's just so many different ways that I could look at it. But by far, the most fascinating is how I pinpointed his energy coming through her. And if I'm not making sense so far, then here's the reason why I wanted to share this, and I felt like it was important for everyone. Is because if you're on the twin flame journey and you encounter people that you have unpleasant interactions with, take a look at that energy dynamic and ask yourself, is this helping me learn something that's going to bring me closer to union? Is this helping me understand my person in a more accurate and a clearer perspective? Because I think that's the purpose in a lot of these interactions that we're experiencing in the twin flame groups, in spiritual communities, in general life, just our everyday 3D life. I think it's all preparing us for these divine unions, because the energy that we share with our divine partner is so very intense. And it's impossible to run into our divine partner head to head and overcome all of the energy that we're sharing and experiencing together. We have to filter it out. And the way that we do that is through others that carry the same soul essence. And that brings me to what I wanted to say about the soul group. When you've worked through the different layers of all of this clearing and integration, you come down to your core soul group of 12, 6 divine masculine and 6 divine feminine. And it's in that core soul group that you're going to run into the people that you have the most intense dynamics with. And it can be either the same gender as you are or the opposite gender as you are. What's going to matter is the energy that is exchanged between you. And you're going to integrate both divine masculine and divine feminine energy that's aspects of you and also of your divine partner. So it gets very complicated and very complex and very convoluted, because it's not just about you being either the divine feminine or masculine and then your divine partner being the opposite. It's not about that. It's broken down into finer fragments than that. It splinters off. Like the divine masculine energy splits off into masculine and feminine, and so does the opposite. So that's how you get your energy broken down into 12 fragments. It's all you. It's all aspects of yourself and your divine partner. Your divine partner is you in the opposite gender energy. And the two of you together make a whole. But all of those other 10 aspects in your core soul group also are part of that whole. And meaning WHOLE. And together you will ascend as a group. That was a vision that I had in the very, very beginning of my journey, way back in like 2000 or 2001. And this is a very intense time that we're in, with all these energy shifts and changes and everything going on. And those of us in our wave, in our monad, we've all integrated as a monad, and we've all anchored the energy for these new divine partner dynamics to be manifest into physical union. And when you encounter someone that has so much of the energy of your divine partner, and you're having these uncomfortable, unpleasant dynamics with them, thank that person, no matter how unpleasant it is, because they're helping you prepare for the next level of your union. And whether that person leaves your life, or if they stay, or if they leave and come back, regardless of what that dynamic becomes, they're still serving a very, very important role in your life. And as I said in the beginning, this is not going to resonate with very many people at this time. It will a few of you, but this is something we don't hear very often being discussed. Not to this degree, to where it's starting to involve other people. This is really where the rubber hits the road. And yes, you're hearing excitement in my voice. I'm overwhelmed and I'm excited and I'm humbled. I'm humbled to be someone who is conveying this message. I'm humbled and deeply, deeply grateful that I'm someone who is experiencing this dynamic. And I'm humbled and grateful and honored. And I feel a deep sense of responsibility that I have been given the opportunity to understand this and experience it on such a deep level. And first and foremost, above anyone else, of course, it goes unsaid that I'm grateful for God. I'm grateful that I was given enough insight and wisdom, that I was bestowed that wisdom from the divine in order to choose this journey consciously. And I'm deeply, deeply grateful to my divine masculine more than anyone else in this world. Because without his presence in my life, in all of its form, in all of its aspects, and all of the contrast and everything, that I was given this gift of divine partnership in order to understand the depth of this experience in such a visceral and a physical way, to where it permeates all the different levels of my consciousness, my emotions, my mental awareness, my physiological being, my spiritual awareness, every single different aspect. Is such a gift to have this divine love, this pure, untainted essence to be pulsating through my system, through my every pore of my being. And there's just no other way to put it other than to just express my deep level of gratitude for this understanding. Because when he and I first interacted and I was activated by him, I knew then everything that had to happen. I could never have unpacked it right away in my mind. It's taken 3.5 years. But intuitively, I knew that it would afford me the culmination of everything that I had been envisioning for the past 20 years. Your divine partner is the answer for everything. They're the explanation for every experience, for every hardship, of every dynamic that you ever had with anyone that fell apart and that you never got an understanding for that. Your divine partner is the answer for it all. Your divine partner is the very reason that you're here. Now, I am not speaking to every single human being on this planet. I am speaking to those who understand that they are destined to experience a divine partnership. Because people that are on just a conventional path, they're not going to understand this terminology. They're not going to understand this verbiage. They're not going to understand what true twin flames will be able to understand just by listening to my voice, sharing this information. I want to thank everyone who follows my journey and who listens to my messages and watches my videos. But I especially want to thank everyone who's listening to this message today. Because this message that I'm sharing today is coming from a deeper and more authentic place from within myself than I've ever shared from before. And I'm very grateful to the one person that I'm speaking of that played this role for me in my journey. And I hope that we'll reconcile and come to an understanding and be able to be friends again. I want to thank her because this opened me up to a brand new level of awareness that I knew already, but this has given me the validation of it. The timeliness is incredible with all these resets and everything that we're experiencing right now. Energetically, in our technology, in our relationships, in our levels of consciousness, it's all tying in together. And I'm thanking you for listening to this message, especially because this is marking the beginning of a brand new way of experiencing reality. And for anyone who hears this and has any understanding of it whatsoever, I'm honored that you're on this journey with me. And I'm looking forward to hearing about everyone else's experiences along their journey with their divine partner. And once again, I want to thank my divine partner first and foremost for being here with me in this world to share the experiences, the dynamics, and to be at one with me and to show me the true meaning of what oneness really is. And that sense of oneness is so special with him because it's eternal. He's the one that I remember from the beginning of time, and he's the one that I know that I will be at one with for all of eternity. So thank you once again, everyone, for following along. I wish you all the very best along your journey as well, and have a great day.